There's no feedback now, Mitzi.
Okay, it sounds good on this end too. Okay, thank you for joining us for the January meeting of Joining Forces for Treasure Valley Veterans. I hope everybody has had a great 2022 so far. I am going to try to each month recap over the last month since we had our last Joining Forces meeting, how much monetary help we've put out there. Over Christmas, I had a lot of requests go out and had a lot of very generous people step up. Sometimes I'll have just an individual that says, hey, I can throw in $50. And then other times we'll have an organization that'll say, hey, we can, put in $2,000, that sort of thing. But since our last Joining Forces meeting in December, monetary help to veterans on the emails that I've put out, we've had over $18,000 come in to help different veterans and things. And the great thing about that is, we don't have a bank account. We don't keep money on hand. I don't handle any of the money. When we have a situation like that, I put you in contact with, say, the pump company and call and make a payment directly to the pump company. We had a veteran whose pump that we replaced this last week, or if we needed a hotel stay over Christmas, we had a few of those that we paid for some hotel stays for veterans and things. So we've got a good system going, but I just wanted to share that with all of you, and I'll try to keep track from month to month so that we know how much that we're doing. And it's all you guys. I'm just the conduit for getting the message out there, but it's all of you that are stepping up and making those donations, or going and helping somebody move, or whatever needs to be done. So thank you very, very much. So we're going to start off today. Our first presentation is going to be from our state treasurer, Julie Ellsworth. And Julie and I have been working together to try to get the word out about the Idaho Women Veterans Medallion. It came out in 2020, and of course, pandemic year, and Julie will tell us all about that. So welcome, Julie. And you're on mute.
It's always nice to be told that. Wouldn't that be fun just to do that to people in general? Okay, first of all, I'm going to share my screen and then just go through and just share information about the Idaho Women's Veteran Medallion. But I want to give you a little bit of a background about getting this medallion minted. We worked with the Warhawk Museum and committees of the House and the Senate, and had the governor sign the bill so that we could mint this medallion. And you guys, it was minted in 2020, just before the pandemic came in. I was waiting for the governor to sign the bill so that I could lock in the price of silver. Because do you remember, just before, I say sports died on March 13th, 2020, so just before that date, we were waiting for the signature, and I was watching the price of silver being manipulated. This is the backstory on this medallion. There will never be another medallion in the state of Idaho like this one in 2020. So I'm waiting, and finally the governor signs the bill. I lock in the price of silver, and then the world shuts down. You remember all that experience, and nonetheless, we continued with doing our due diligence on getting this medallion prepared. There's a lot of legal work so that you can use images of people on it. And then we had the issue, we want it minted in the state of Idaho, and everything shut down. We had the medallion minted at the Sunshine Mint in northern Idaho, and literally we would connect with individuals that were driving from North Idaho to Boise, and we delivered about 100 medallions at a time. But this thing was minted in 2020. And I've asked, well, are you going to do another run on it? And I thought, no, this 2020 medallion for the state of Idaho, that's it. The law allows the treasurer to mint a medallion, an official coin. The proceeds benefit the veterans cemeteries. I am going to share my screen now. Can you still hear me, Mitzi?
Yep.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
I believe we will here in a second.
Okay.
That's
Tell me when you see it, okay, Mitzi?
okay. There we go.
Okay, this is the committee for the Veterans Medallion. We had the Historical Society. We had Marv Hagedorn at that time. He was with your chief administrator, Sue Paul from the Idaho Warhawk Museum, and various senators and representatives. As I said, it benefits the Veterans Cemetery. The proceeds from this medallion can help purchase items that you can't purchase with other revenue streams for the cemeteries, and so it's a chance for us to help give you some funding source in that way. The medallion also honored the 2020 100-year celebration of voting for women. This is why it's a women's veteran medallion. On the reverse side, you have the state seal. Of course, Emma Green designed the state seal, and that's very unusual that a woman in 1891 was actually someone that she's the only one that designed the state seal. The front side of the medallion looks like this. In the year 2004, I believe, the first medallion was minted in the state of Idaho, and there were 5 men pictured on the coin. So we just took that same design, and we have found 5 women through the Warhawk Museum and our committee to represent the Idaho women on the Veterans Medallion. The first woman is actually online with us today, Judy Amy. Judy is just an amazing person. She's our only living person that is pictured on the medallion. She served during Vietnam, was on the USS Repose, a nurse, and she served her country in a time where they just didn't do big photos, did they, Judy? I look at your family photo and I think how now we have big going away parties, and there you are with your father and mother pictured here on the Repose. And she was also, Judy was able to come to the Warhawk Museum. We presented her with a coin, a veteran's medallion, and there she is with her family. The second woman pictured on the medallion is Carrie French, who is the first woman in Idaho that was actually killed in action. Carrie French was 15 years old when she was a specialist in the 116th Brigade, Combat Brigade in Operation Iraqi Freedom. And she actually, her vehicle hit a landmine and she was killed. I was told by her father, whom I met last week, that there's actually the locals in Iraq had created a memorial for her there also, because she was so well loved. Just a wonderful young girl, joined the military with dreams of getting financing for her schooling, and just pitched in and worked hard, and she actually is our first woman in Idaho killed in action. Her mother was able to come to the presentation, and we presented her the medallion. I just really appreciate this family that they've opened up and let us be part of their life. Our third woman is Gott. And Gott is a WASP flyer from World War II. The women that volunteered in the Air Force to ferry the aircraft back and forth so that it could facilitate the Army during that time. It's interesting that, they've made movies about these women, and Kay is just actually one of these WASP airplane flyers Their service in the military was not recognized till the mid-70s even. It's fascinating when they're flying the aircraft back and forth for the military, flying all types of planes. They, when they were discharged, they were just told, okay, you can go home. And there was no way for them to get home. They had to come up with their own transportation. They literally were patriots who volunteered for the service, but were not considered military members. In the 70s, they were made that. Kay's favorite plane was a P-51 Mustang. And boy, this woman, she passed away just a few years ago, but as you can see, lived a long, full life and just full of spunk. Just truly an example to have on our medallion. And here her family is in front of the P-51 Mustang, and they have many stories that Kay shared about the get up and go of that aircraft. She's a woman that I really wish I had met. She's full of spunk. And then we have Wanda Pollard, who is our fourth woman pictured on the medallion. She served during Vietnam. Here she is on Guantanamo Bay. Wanda is from Parma, and she's interesting because she was well known. She has passed away. She's well known in that community as the Pollard grocery store, and everybody knew Wanda and her husband Bernie. But here she has this fascinating story of having served in the Korean War, and she was commissioned with a lot of the higher military brass, and she served just quietly, this little gal from Idaho, and then went back to Parma, lived her life as the Parma, Idaho grocery store, and little did they know that she's one of very few that served in that type of commission. And there's Wanda's husband, Bernie. He's so proud of his wife. We got to meet him and present the medallion to him at that time as well. Bernie is still doing fine, I understand. Carmelita Pope is our fifth person, and she was in World War II USO. She's a boogie woogie bugle boy singer. A fascinating life. Carmelita, at the age of 21, as it says, she joined the USO. And, she has stories that she's personal writings in her journals of how she would go out. If you can see that, the troops transport bus for the injured, she would often go onto the buses and just perform to lift the spirits of the soldiers during World War II. She was often in harm's way as well, and fascinating story. After serving, she's kind of a fascinating gal too. If you'll remember Mrs. Pam Cooking Spray, Carmelita Pope was the face of Pam Cooking Spray before we even had cooking spray. And she's also Miss Chicago. She is from Boise, Idaho, and her son is a retired professor from BSU, and there they are at our event. Fascinating woman. Her story is displayed at the Warhawk Museum. It has been an honor to work with these families and to be immersed in the stories of these women. And the medallion is on my website. I'm State Treasurer's Office, so it's sto.idaho.gov. There's information on there if anybody is interested in obtaining a medallion. And I can't tell you, I don't have the exact numbers of how many are sold now. We numbered 500. We're getting low on the numbered ones, and they do sell constantly because everybody thought they were sold. But we had this, they assumed they were all sold but COVID had shut everything down. And once people realized that they're not there, then that they're not all sold. I went to an event one day and literally 15 numbered ones were gone in about 10 minutes. So it's very heartwarming to see the response. They are still available, and I will stand for any questions, but I appreciate your time today to share this information about the Idaho Women Veterans Medallion.
Yeah, it's really a very beautiful medallion if you haven't seen it in person. And what is the cost of of those, Julie?
The numbered ones are $100. The unnumbered ones are $50. It is a beautiful medallion. I mean, you see the picture they have up right now is Bernie, Wanda Pollard's husband, holding the medallion in the box. He's so proud of that medallion. It makes me happy.
That's great. And as she said, the proceeds from that go to benefit our Idaho State Veterans Cemeteries. And there are some things that the state budget doesn't pay for, but, you know, kind of nice things to have. One of those is the grave finder that is at the cemetery. And so that's something that we've paid with the proceeds from this and things. So I encourage everybody to purchase one, once in a lifetime situation. And then we do have Judy, Amy on here with us. Judy, would you like to say a few words as the only living woman veteran on the coin?
Well, I think Julie deserves a lot of credit for doing this. And she informed us that the medallion minted about the male soldiers they weren't real people. But she went through the effort of finding people and putting this together. And it was a big job. So she has just been wonderful advocate for women veterans. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Judy. I gotta say that's the backstory. It became somewhat laborious to get all the documentation in place. Okay, because I thought, wow, how did they do this in 2004 when they were doing the other medallion? Because, you know, it took a lot of legal back steps. And so I asked the minting people at the time, and they said, oh, well, the people on that medallion are not real people. I thought, well, that's a lot easier. You know, you don't have to get all your ducks in a row. There were there's one picture to image on the 2004 medallion that is a person, but that made sense. But, you know, Judy, it was worth it. You were with us from a long ways, and it was worth it to get the real stories in the heart of that medallion. Who would have known it would have been 2022 with all the craziness that happened? So.
Well, Judy, do you want to tell the story about how you were chosen to be represent the Vietnam era on that, or how it came about?
Well, it's all about you, Missy.
Indirectly, very indirectly.
Yeah, Missy was one of her personal goals was to hike to Table Rock 100 times. And the 100th time, I think, was it like December 31st? And I thought, I wanted to support her. I have never hiked before, and I haven't hiked since. But I made the hike, and because of my age and general physical fitness, it was a struggle. And so Marv Hagedorn kind of stayed with me, and he made this hike doable. But we had a lot of time to talk, and so somehow or another, my story came out.
Marv was on the committee, and we were searching for someone from the Vietnam era, and that's the backstory on that, Judy. So, I mean, the committee 4 times, and we had not found a person yet.
So I do see myself only representing women veterans of that era, and especially the nurses that served in Vietnam.
Absolutely. It was
when Judy and Marv got to the top of Table Rock, Marv walked over and he said, do you have her contact information? Because I've got a project I want to involve her in. So it was kind of fate. So I'm happy for my small little part in that. Judy and I have become good friends over the time, and she's one of my favorite people.
Mitzi, I want to say that it has been a challenge to find Vietnam veterans. The Warhawk Museum is recording histories of veterans, and we're very slim on Vietnam era. And Judy, since that, my office has been contacted and we have found other veterans from Vietnam, and I'm just sending them over to the Warhawk Museum. It's a wonderful legacy. And I think you really did kind of pull the Band-Aid off. So thank you for stepping up onto Table Rock. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us today, both Julie and Judy. We're going to move on to Keystone Hospice, and we have Travis Farber, and is that Zach in the background there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
My name's Travis. This is Zach. We are the veterans coordinators for Keystone Hospice. Keystone's been around for coming up on almost 6 years, and we're veteran owned. Didn't start out with a veterans program. It kind of just came to me and fell in my lap. So I jumped on it, and Zach's been here for a little over a year now. Our job is to, obviously, with the hospice tag, is to take care of the veterans during the final months or years of their lives. And I would suggest, if you are searching for a certain era of veterans, such as the Vietnam era, to contact the hospices in the community, because they're the ones that are caring for them. We get some of them that can't communicate or are so far along in whatever their diagnosis or decline is that they can't communicate, but we do have plenty and we're seeing a huge influx of the Vietnam guys right now. So our job is to go out, meet with them in the first week that they come onto our services, and say hello and form that veteran front and let them know that, hey, we recognize your service. Thank you for that service. And we're here for you throughout this journey towards the end of your life. And we get to hear some stories that these guys don't share with their families or their friends, things that they haven't talked about for 50, 60, 70 years. There's been several instances when the family's been kicked out of the room and they've talked to me about stuff that they've seen and stuff, just because nobody else in their family was a veteran and they didn't want to tell anybody that. So it's a very honorable thing to go out there and get that stuff off their chest for them, and listen to them. And we refer a lot to the Warhawk and that life history thing that they have. We record some of our own stuff if they don't want to make the trip down to the Warhawk. We also have a great working relationship with the advocacy office there on the VA campus. A lot of these guys don't have DD-214s or haven't had any benefits help, because we all know how the World War II, Korea, that older generation didn't seek help when they got home from their tours of duty. They just went back to work and wherever they were doing, and they could have been getting benefits this whole time. And I don't know, countless individuals have told me I could have been getting this for 70 years. They leave a lot on the table, but that was just that mentality of that generation. And while it's admirable, it's also like, darn it, you could have had this the whole time. Yeah. We have nurses, CNAs, the bath aides, social workers, chaplains. We have a great intake office that works everything from here at the office, and then kind of sends teams here and there to get people onto our services. And it's a great experience for us, I think, coming out of the service ourselves. We were both in the Marine Corps, and being able to connect with these older generation and hear their stories and how the military's changed over time is just, it's crazy. We have we try to contribute to Mitzi's email chain that she sends out as often as we can. We know that that's our community outreach is our, I think that's what we enjoy doing the most. I think we enjoy tracking down more veterans that aren't on services and helping them out with whatever they need, and then coming back and taking care of our guys too. It's just such an honor to do that. But hospice is it's it's not about your quantity of life, it's about your quality of life there towards the end. And Keystone does an amazing job of giving these guys the best that we can give them in their final days here. We have a pilot out at the Nampa airport that takes old pilots from the Korea, Vietnam, World War II era back up in a plane and turns the controls over to them for a few minutes and lets them fly around. And it's just some of these guys haven't been in a plane since they got out of a plane in Europe or wherever they were, and it's can get a little fishy up in the skies sometimes. One asked if he could
jump out.
Yeah, if he could jump again, and Scotty's eyes got pretty big. He's like, I'm not equipped for that. He was trying to open the door and wanted to jump. Scotty had to bring him in early, but it was a good experience. We've had great. It's a great honor of ours to be able to give back to that older generation that paved the way for our generation of military to serve, and it's just a great experience for us. Is there any questions about hospice that we can answer? Our office is located in Eagle, right across the street from Eagle Island State Park.
What are, I noticed on your website, you've got a section of misconceptions about hospice and what it is and what it isn't and things. What are some of those major ones that you guys run into that people are surprised?
I think the number one, top one is that we're just gonna push pills and drug you up and just let you kind of lay there until it's your time to go. And that's not at all what we do. We have so many people coming in to see you, whether it be a chaplain or a CNA or a nurse, the social workers and us, that we give you, a lot of these guys outlive their families. A lot of the World War II guys are 100 years old now, so their family's all gone there. We find a lot of them that have been in their little apartment or wherever they are by themselves for years, and being able to go in and break that kind of wall that they've put up, not having anybody around, and then the bond that you create. Pretty soon he's calling you every other day. Can you come out? Are you busy? Can you come out and see? So it's not about, we do give you whatever meds that obviously the nurses review your meds and what you don't need and what you do need now that you're in this end of life process. We can get rid of some and let's add this here and things like that. But it is about keeping you obviously comfortable. We don't want you in pain, but it's not so comfortable that you can't do your daily functions and communicate with people, and your mind's not cloudy and you can have a great conversation. And that's, I think, the biggest misconception is that, yes, we're just going to drug you up and keep you comfortable means forcing, morphine or any of those drugs. It's not the case. It's all up to you. We go off of what you want to take that day and what you want to do that day. And I think that mentality from us to them kind of puts them at ease a little bit. If you don't want to take your meds that day, let's not take your meds that day. But it is we leave it up to them to kind of drive the schedule of everybody else here, and I think that works, makes the relationship very beneficial for everybody.
At what point in somebody's illness do they reach out to hospice?
So usually you get a terminal diagnosis. You have 6 months or less to live, and there's a referral team at most of the hospitals and places like that call around to all the hospices and see who can come out and admit this gentleman today or lady today, and then kind of whoever they usually get 5-6 choices of different hospices in the valley who you want to go with, and you get to pick one. It's not like we're out there recruiting you to come on to hospice. It's your choice. You pick who you want to go with.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yep.
So just real quick, you were mentioning the pandemic, and that's been obviously something that's affected everybody's life. And something we've seen is people that are in the hospital, and whether they're on a ventilator or they're not, they've been told, you have 6 or less months to live. A lot of what we've seen is some of these people, they're dying in the hospital and they're not allowed to be near their family. And hospice has provided a great number of people the ability to go home and die comfortable. You know, they're not in this cold, sterile hospital anymore. They're allowed to be around their family and live out their days as they see fit. And so that is huge. And two young men like ourselves have seen this perspective of what, you know, our life may hold in the future. And hospice can be a very beautiful thing if done right. And I think Keystone works very hard to do it correctly.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Keystone. They've actually been with Joining Forces since their inception 6 years ago. They came to a meeting shortly after they were up and running, and both Zach and Travis, and then Jesse is the other one I deal a lot with. Do you have any other veterans on the front lines over there?
Yes, we have a couple of our nurses are veterans. One of our social workers is an Air Force vet. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, we got LPNs. I think we've got every branch but the Coast Guard and the Space Force, if we're counting the Space Force.
I tell people there aren't any veterans from the Space Force yet.
Not yet. That's true.
So, well, good. Now, as you said, people are given a list of, you know, hospice providers and things. Is there anything that we can do as Joining Forces to get your name out there as Keystone, as a premier hospice agency for veterans?
I think we're gonna sponsor more events that we're putting on, like the Vietnam Veterans Day and things like that, and help with that and get our name out there a little bit on the veteran front, because we're veteran owned. Lenny Jensen is our owner. He's a veteran himself. So pushing that veteran front, we want to take care of all the veterans in the Valley. We don't want them to have a choice, but they get and it's good that they get one, but I want to see them all, because they're special to us, and us being fellow veterans. It's such an icebreaker to walk in the room with a group of people that they don't know. And if you say, hey, I'm a veteran too, right away, it's just things open up and everybody's comfortable right off the bat. And it makes for such an easy admission process. And then however length that they're on hospice. We have a Vietnam guy that has been on hospice for over 2 years now. He was given 6 months to live, and he's just thrived. So it doesn't always mean that 6 months is 6 months. This guy's bounced back pretty good, and with the care from the nurses, the nursing team we have here, it's incredible. Yep, he's should have graduated off, but we don't want to get rid of him, so we just keep him on. So.
Well, and I think that says something about you guys too, because I think with any illness, it's mind over matter. You know, I think your mindset is 90% of it, and you guys come in and you know, I think every veteran, when they meet another veteran, no matter what the age is, they have something in common, even if it's a different branch and things. And for those guys to be at that point in their life, and to have veterans like yourself walk in, and I know the conversations that you guys have are things that they wouldn't talk about, you know, even with their family, or you know, any other agency that might come in there and be providing them care. So
not to disparage any other hospices, they're all wonderful people. It takes a special person to be in hospice.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, the veterans, they don't have a set veterans program that's run by another veteran. It's usually a chaplain or a social worker that runs that program. So it's very beneficial to us to be able to have that line of communication, and we can get the verbiage and the conversations that we have, and we can talk for an hour, and sometimes the spouse is sitting there and she's like, I have no idea what you guys just said. So such a joy for us to be able to do that. And I just want to say real quick, Judy, thank you for your service. I got a soft spot for those Vietnam era guys, so I wanted to thank her for her service real quick.
That's great.
Thank
Well,
you.
It was my privilege.
I really enjoy working with everybody over at Keystone, and they do step up. sometimes it's monetarily with some of the requests, but I think more often than not, you guys have stepped up with, you know, hey, we can take a pickup over and help move something, or, you know, that sort of thing. So you guys are all in, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, Lenny gives us pretty much the free reign of the day to, if we have to cancel something to go help this guy over here, we're going to do that. So we're pretty good about dropping what we're doing and getting people what they need. So
That's
it's
great.
our privilege to do that.
Does anybody on the call have questions for Travis or Zach about Keystone or hospice in general? Anybody?
Travis and Zach. Hey, this is Lisa with Legacy Corps Volunteer Program, and Travis and Zach, I just want to thank you guys. We serve elderly veterans and their families in their home with companionship and support. So they're not always necessarily on hospice, but I just recently connected one of our volunteers with one of your patients, and the first thing he told me about was when Travis and his team came out and did I forget what you guys call it, Travis, but where you do like a tribute and honor to the veteran and all dressed up in your awesome uniforms. And anyways, that was the first thing he talked about, showed me the video, and I just want to thank you guys that you do that for your families. I think that's way, way cool. So thank you.
Yeah, I didn't mention that. So we go out and we take them a plaque with their name on it. We fold a flag for them and thank them for their service. We still get dressed up in our blues and I think that's just right off the bat a good way to push that military front and let them know that we're going to be here with you along this journey. And then when it comes time for them to pass, a lot of these guys, like I said, outlive their families, so they're dying alone. And so we go out in our blues again and escort them out of the facility or their home or whatever they're in to the funeral home. And it's just a great honor for us to give back to them in that way.
Thank you very much. You know, I will mention along the same fronts Travis mentioned in the beginning, especially with these Vietnam guys, they never applied for benefits. And when Keystone finds out they don't have anything, then they'll reach out to our office and try to get them benefits. But it's never too late to apply for benefits. I'll just kind of give you an idea. If, and we'll say a Vietnam era veteran, if they have a certain type of cancer, it could be linked to Agent Orange, and we can file a claim for that. Even if the veteran passes away before the VA approves that claim, it's backdated to when the claim was filed, and the family will get that money. And then if the veteran is deemed 100% disabled, there are benefits for the widow and things. And so every situation is different, but I encourage every veteran to see your service officer. I've said this a million times, but if you know anybody, an elderly veteran, and they're not receiving benefits, or maybe they are and they haven't gone in to have things reevaluated in 20 years, you know, give our office a call and let's just take a look at it, because it could change people's lives with the additional money that could come in situations like that.
Yeah, I 100% suggest to do that. The cost of living in some of the facilities is astronomical, so any help that these guys can get is well earned and well deserved. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for being with us today, you guys.
Thank you.
Our other guest was going to be Isaac Belden, and he said it was okay for me to share this. One of his daughters has been dealing with cancer for over a year, and they had a medical procedure this morning, and she's fine, but things went a little long at the hospital and things, so he wasn't able to make it with us today. So we will have him another time. So that leaves us a little bit of open time here. So I'm going to just go down my list of attendees and call some people out. So start thinking about what you can talk about with your organization, because I'll probably call on you. Dan Ashley, Boise Vet Center. What do you guys have going on over there?
Good morning. How did I know you were going to call on me?
Because you always have something going on and something to say.
That's right. Yes, we do. And the good thing serving in the military is you always have to be ready and prepared to get up and talk in front of others. So not a big deal. Things are going well at the Vet Center. We're continuing to see veterans both in person and virtually. Of course, we do encourage virtual sessions currently just because of what's going on. But if they insist that they'd like to come in, we will meet with them face to face. We have our mobile unit that is going out periodically to a couple events. We're just not taking it too far. Probably keeping within a 75-mile radius. We've had some recent expansion in the Vet Center program that would be good for all of you to know. So a lot of people know the Vet Center does provide counseling and resource development, things like that. We've extended some of those services to beyond the combat hostile environment and MST, which now affects our National Guard and reservists who, if they were called up for any kind of humanitarian need or any kind of civil unrest, riot control within the United States, they qualify to come see us now. Previous to that, they would have to have a deployment in support of an operation to come and see us. So now that opens a door for them to be able to see us a little bit more in the Guard and Reserve for instances of that nature. And we're an evolving paradigm. So as our program continues on, there's bits and pieces that get added on. We are a small agency, so it is important to realize that of our 300 vet centers nationwide, we have about 1,800 employees, and about 80% of us are veterans, and about 65% of us are combat vets. And we're a small drop in the bucket compared to the VA itself, which is about 370,000 employees. So we are a little more limited on some of our services, but as we continue to expand, we try to meet the needs of what's going on globally and response, and we try to respond to that as needed. Most everybody has probably met me or seen me at events, but it's great partnering with all of you. And if you have any questions for me or want to reach out, feel free to do that, especially if you have any events and you feel it would be good for us to have our vehicle out there and talk about our services. We're more than happy to do that.
Yeah, Dan's great about bringing that mobile vet unit out to any veteran-centric event. So don't hesitate to give him a call, and if he's available and they're able, they'll get out there and do that.
Yeah, thank you.
And the Vet Center is also someplace that I send a lot of veterans, especially ones that are hesitant to reach out to the VA, but they may need some mental health counseling, that sort of thing. It's a comfortable environment over there. And even though the Vet Center, they are VA employees, the Vet Centers are separate from the VA. So it's just, it's a good option and a good way to kind of introduce veterans that are hesitant to reach out for that kind of care, to send them to the Vet Center.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Mitzi. And just one more point I wanted to make. The nice thing about the Vet Center as well is we can work with those that are still on active duty status. So they don't have to be out of the service to come and see us and even seek counseling where they may not want to use the services that are located on the base or within their own network. And since we don't share our information, everything is confidential and private. does not go back to the DOD side of the house or even the VA hospital side. So it stays in-house with us. And then we can also bring in the whole family. If the family dynamics are in need of help, we can pull in the spouse, we can pull in the kids, and provide some counseling at those levels as well. So it is a great program.
And I think that's huge because when you have somebody in your family, say the veteran that is dealing with PTS or whatever the situation may be, it's not just affecting him. It is affecting the whole family, the wife or husband, kids, and that sort of thing. And at the vet center, they can bring in the extended family for that counseling, and they can do the joint counseling together. So, okay. David Fisher, Idaho Veterans Network. Would you like to say anything this morning?
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Yes, I'll just let you know that we've been spending a lot of time here recently since the passing of our founder toward the end of last year, Marty Bernard, kind of retooling and putting some plans together for the future. We've added a couple of members to the board. I'm on the board now. I think I mentioned that at our last meeting when we received the presentation of the flag from the Congressman's office, which was wonderful. We are busy trying to redefine our mission and figure out where we're going to go from here, and actually kind of build in some technological tools that the organization hasn't had, such as a website and some other things like that. So we're busily putting that in place right now. I will mention a couple of things. We have registered a domain, which is idvetnet.org, short for Idaho Veterans Network. And we'll be getting that up and running here probably in the next couple of weeks. And the next event that we're planning is a memorial for Marty Bernard on May 14th.
Now, it's not a memorial, it's a party.
It's a party, absolutely. It's going to be quite a celebration, actually. And we're going to put a lot of effort into that and invite the veteran community at large. We intend to have a barbecue on the grounds of Dry Creek Cemetery that same day, and it's going to be quite an event. So we'll publish more on that later, but know that we're alive and well and just retooling and making plans for the future. So.
Okay, great. So mark May 14th on your calendars, everyone. It's going to be a great day out there. And the other thing that I'll mention, the newspaper that I bring around to different events and that I usually have at the Joining Forces meeting, that is put out by the Idaho Veterans Network, and retired Police Chief Mike Masterson kind of heads that up. He's the editor of that. The upcoming issue is going to come out in May. And if you would like to have an article in there or an advertisement, whatever, the deadline for that is April 10th, I believe. So contact Mike Masterson. I will get the information out, and then we're going to try to let everybody know those deadlines in the future, so that if you want to put something in the paper, you can. But those papers are going all across the state. They go up north, they go over to eastern Idaho and things. So especially if you have an organization that covers the whole state, that's a good place to get your information out to. Okay, George Nickel with Wyakin Foundation. Would you like to say a few words?
I would, thanks, Missy. The biggest thing we got going on right now is we've been doing some collaboration with Valor Point, which is subsidized housing for veterans to get them back into independent living. And so to help them out currently, we are doing a supply drive, because the veterans that are moving into those apartment units they're coming with absolutely nothing. So we're doing a supply drive, and I'll share a flyer with Mitzi so she can put it out to everybody. But it's mainly we're looking for basic household items that people need, everything from like dish towels to cleaning supplies. And we're doing this drive just to support them and help the veterans that are moving into more independent living. The other part is we are expanding our program to take in a total of 60 veterans. We're still looking for 5 veterans that wish to go and get their CDL Class A license. We will provide full tuition coverage for that for 5 veterans. So if anybody knows a veteran that's looking to get a CDL, send them our way, and we'll take care of the full funding of that. And other than that, we're plugging along, growing our program.
That's great. I just want to say I met with the staff of the Wyakin Foundation recently, and if you haven't gotten to know them recently, I would do some more research on them and find out about them. And I'll just go from my own perspective that I had in the past, that they were kind of an elite organization. And by that, you know, I kind of felt that it wasn't for everyone, and it may not be for everyone, but I feel like they've made some changes to the program. Can you speak to that at all, George? We kind of talked about that in the meeting. You really are reaching out to veterans across the spectrum.
We are. We still remain true to our mission, helping veterans move through an education and into new careers. For some of you that may not know, we've completely restaffed over the past year from our executive director, except myself and Doug are still hold-ons. But we're also reaching out, expanding our trades program. We now are taking veterans in apprenticeship programs in the trades. We're expanding nationally. We have veterans all the way from Massachusetts to North Carolina, Nebraska, and we're becoming much more collaborative within the veteran community, because you know we all work together. We all got to look out for each other, and we support only one facet, but we stick to our mission. But if I have a veteran who's in need of resources, it's always good to have those good partnerships where you can do a warm handoff to get them what they need.
Yeah, I think you guys have really reached out in that way. And as I've got to know the program more, I work really closely with one of the veterans in the program, and they assign them a professional mentor, somebody that is already doing the job that this veteran is going to school for out in the community, so that they can kind of walk them through things as they're going to school and things. And then they have community mentors. And from what I've seen, it gives that veteran just that extra little bit of help that they kind of need in the community. And when you're going to school, there's a lot going on. You still have to juggle everything, but to have that additional support out there. And then you've got some really great programs where you get all of the people that are in your program together so they can get to know each other and again offer that support. So I think you guys are doing a great job over there.
Thanks.
Okay, let's see here. Keith Miller, Boise Rescue Mission. Do you have anything you'd like to tell us about that's going on over there?
Boise Rescue Mission's busy and keeping things going. Always working with homeless vets, and things are always changing at the Boise Rescue Mission. One of the projects I'm working on right now is Boise Rescue Mission is taking on a new project for kind of transitional housing. They took over an assisted living center on North Curtis, and they're revamping it. Hopefully have it open later this year. So, you know, it's just one more step to move someone from homelessness to back into society and you know, further on and everything. One thing they did find when they were going through this assisted living center is they found a couple old items. One's a small shadow box of a veteran and I did some research, and he has passed away, but I'm trying to find the family of that guy with a small shadow box. And then I do believe it's a casket flag from another veteran that I'd like to get that information to. So Mitzi, if I could, I would email you the information with the pictures of the two things. And if you could send it out to whoever and whatever, we can maybe, the more people that see it, they might go, well, I know that family, and they can get back in touch with me. If you wouldn't mind, that would be great.
Yeah, that'll be kind of a fun little thing on the side for us to work on and do. And it'd be nice if we do find those families and be able to tell the other side of the story. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get that out to you here shortly.
Okay, sounds great. I'm going to call on Jeff Kirkman with the Idaho Department of Corrections. Do you have anything you'd like to tell us about or update us on?
No, not really. We're just plugging along, holding our footprint out in the desert. We've got obviously constantly a bunch of people returning to the communities. A lot of them are veterans, and still trying to connect them constantly to services in each of the communities. I am going to reach out and touch base with George with the Wyakin about those spots for CDL licenses, and I'll touch base with him outside of this meeting. But yeah, we're just supplying what we can as far as individuals looking for resources. So
okay, sounds great. Well, and I think just having Jeff on here goes to show the diversity of our joining forces group. We've got several people from Department of Corrections on our group, and there are veterans that are incarcerated, and when they come out, it's hard, whether you're a veteran or not, to reintegrate into society. But if we can offer them any additional resources for their service, people that are in jail or have gone to prison are not necessarily bad people. They just did something bad at one point in their life, and they deserve that chance to start over and things. So you do a great job with that transition, Jeff.
Well, one thing I will mention is we have quite a few individuals that come in and that reach into our facilities and help with our staff and our veterans, our population. But with this surge in the Omicron variant, we're really kind of teetering on whether or not we can maintain that access to our facilities. But right now, nothing's really changing. But that's something I'm sure all of us are dealing with. But it just heightens it a lot more when you're in a closed facility like we have. So those of you who may be on this call that might reach in and help, just a heads up, we might be setting our doors a little bit more because of that variant.
Sounds good. I'll share a story. This story is over a year old, about 18 months old now, but right shortly after things shut down with the pandemic in March, April of 2020, somebody from IDOC reached out to me, and they had a veteran. He had been incarcerated for 15 years. So just imagine what technology was like 15 years ago. Even just Boise, the changes that have happened in Boise over the last 15 years. Anyway, they had housing for him, but he had to quarantine for 2 weeks, back in the day when we were quarantining that long. And they had a hotel for him, but he was going to have to stay in that hotel room for 2 weeks. And, at that point we could order out and things, but how do we order out food now? Do we call up? No, everything's done on an app and that sort of thing. And so we reached out to joining forces at that time and had quite a few people that helped take him meals, talk to him on the phone, that sort of thing, to just help with that reintegration. So you never know what situation's going to pop up.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that incident, and clothes were delivered. I mean, it's the things that we just kind of take for granted, but when you're quarantined like that, just getting out of prison, you don't have anything except maybe the clothes you left that facility with. So much appreciated to the community.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's see. Mindy Anderson, Idaho Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Are you going to be doing anything exciting coming up in the next week or so?
We are going to Twin Falls. We are starting in 2022 to branch out across the state and provide education and awareness for access to our navigation services. So with the Idaho Veterans Chamber of Commerce, we are a navigation network hub, and we help navigate veterans to all of the resources that they may need. And we bridge that gap between the Idaho and military communities. So we are starting, our first road trip is to go out to Twin Falls, and we'll be out there Monday night for the Marine League meeting. We will be there Tuesday morning for the Magic Valley Joining Forces presenting there. And then in the evening, we will be at a veteran business owner place with Craftsman Unlimited. And then Wednesday morning, we will be at the National Guard Armory in Twin Falls. Different audiences that we'll probably be speaking to, but we are joining forces on a higher level, and we are going with Idaho Division of Veteran Services. So Mitzi is going with us, and then just this week we added Wyakin Foundation is going to be joining us too. Our mission is together is better, and the more people we can go out into the communities across the state of Idaho and share our missions with and help them get connected to the resources wherever they may be is really what we're focused on with the chamber. We recently received 2 large grants, a federal and a Workforce Development Council grant, and we are fully launching and just hired part-time team members this week. So we are up to 5 employees now part-time, and we have fully launched our navigation services in workforce management and then also in our entrepreneurship space. We are working with an organization that was created last year called Idaho Connect, which is the hub and spoke model for the SBA federal grant. Isaac Belden from the Veteran Entrepreneur Alliance, he is part of that as well, but we're partnering up with other organizations, underserved organizations such as the Idaho Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, 3 tribal councils, Idaho Women's Business Center, Idaho Hispanic Foundation, Idaho Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Black Community Alliance, and SBDCs across the state of Idaho. So the next 2 years, we're really going to be launching across the state and providing navigation services and being that central network hub where people can pass through us, whether they be the military community or the Idaho community, to just bridge that gap and connect them more, closely align what their needs are on each side of the communities to just come together and support each other, because there's definitely not a lack of the Idaho community wanting to support the military community. Sometimes they just don't know how to, or how to find the military community. And so we've done a lot of work in the last year just building up this network. We have over 90 Idaho community partners now serving on all 5 of our steering committees that meet monthly in education, workforce, entrepreneurship, housing, and family and wellness. And they're all mostly Idaho community partners, employers or agencies, companies, individuals, members at large, all a huge diverse population of people that are now coming together once a month and talking about how can we better support the military community through the resources that we provide. And it's just been really great to see the excitement in the Idaho community to really be able to support the military community further. So I look forward to next week and meeting the people in the Twin Falls area. And if you're in that area, please come out and join us for one of our events. We'd love to meet you and connect with you further.
That's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to accompanying you on that trip. Twin Falls is my hometown, so we started a joining forces group down there 5 years ago, and it is going strong. And that is part of what my mission is with my new position at IDVS is they want to have joining forces groups all over the state to bring us together like we've done here, like they're doing in Twin Falls, so that all the different groups can talk together and we can get the word out. So that's exciting that we're going to be able to go and actually make a presentation at the joining forces down there. So, okay, I'm going to mention a few things to mark your calendar for March 29th. It's a Tuesday. We are going to have a Vietnam Veterans Recognition Day ceremony at Kleiner Park in Meridian. March 29th is National Vietnam Veterans Recognition Day. And 2019, we held our first ceremony, and then the last 2 years, we were unable to do it because of COVID, but we are moving it from the Capitol steps over to Kleiner Park to give us some more space over there. And it will start at noon. The Army Band will be there playing. We'll have the Vet Center out there and some other people. And then at 1 o'clock will be the official ceremony. The governor will be there. We'll have some Vietnam veterans speaking, and then and we'll have a flyover. So it'll be a lot of fun. And then at 2 o'clock, from 2 to approximately 4 o'clock, we're going to move it over across the parking lot to the Meridian Senior Center, and we'll have food and refreshments, and veterans can just sit around and talk and reminisce and that sort of thing. So noon to 4 on March 29th, and the public is invited. We hope everybody can come out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Coming up next week, or let's see, be the week after next, the crew of the USS Idaho is going to be coming to town again. The USS Idaho is a fast attack submarine that is being built in Connecticut at the moment, and this will be the first time in over 100 years that the Navy has built a USS Idaho. And so there is a large commissioning committee of submariners across the state that are working to make everybody aware of this. And part of that is they're bringing the commander, Nicholas Myers, and crew members out every few months to visit Idaho. And not only for the public to get to know them, but so that these young men and women can also find out more about our great state and take that back for that heritage on the submarine that they'll be stationed on. So just quickly, Wednesday, January 26th is going to be USS Idaho night at the Steelheads Hockey. And I'll be getting all this information out to you. There's a special group block of tickets. And so it's $19 per person, and you can sit with the crew that evening. Nampa on Thursday, January 27th, they will be at the American Legion Hall for a public reception. And then they'll be headed up to Cascade on Friday, January 28th. They'll have a reception at the American Legion Hall there in Cascade that Friday evening. And then they will be in the Winter Festival Parade on Saturday. That's January 29th. And then they'll be coming back to Boise. They'll be at the Warhawk Museum for the Coffee Klatch on Tuesday, February 1st. And the only other thing that I want to be sure to mention, if in Idaho, if you're 100% disabled with the VA, you do qualify for a property tax break. And I think they've raised that. It used to be $1,320, but I think it's gone up to about $1,500 now. But anyway, that's a good tax break with property taxes the way they are. The thing is, you need to file for that every year. You need to give the county assessor a copy of your disability letter. Those letters are issued by my office, or you can come down to the VA and pick one up. But you need a new letter every year, and then you need to take it to the county assessor every year. So you can call 208-780-1380 and talk to either Janelle, Tiffany, or myself. I'm only in there 1 day a week, but we can issue those letters and get them sent out to you. So you do need that. And the only other date I want everybody to put on their calendar is Saturday, June 11th. We will have a big party out in Caldwell at the Idaho Veterans Garden. And we are working towards having a Idaho Female Veterans Memorial out there. And I'll have more information coming on that. But please mark June 11th on your calendar, because we'd like everybody to come out with us. So is there anybody else in the last 3 minutes here that has anything they would like to share?
Mitzi, this
Yeah.
is Jackie with Courageous Survival.
Hi.
Hey, I can't hear you guys very well, so hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I just wanted to let everybody know we were excited to announce that Courageous Survival is now a nonprofit with Idaho, filing for our 501c3 status. We specialize in connecting first responders, veterans, and their families with specific mental health and wellness resources. We also have peer support teams with clinical advisors across the state. And I'm super excited to invite everybody to on January 22nd. We are going to have an axe throwing event. The Section 37 is closing down their facility, so it's private. Grand Canyon University sponsoring it. Lunch will be a part of it. Get your RSVPs in for that. It is free and includes lunch. That's going to be a lot of fun, but we've got a lot of different collaborations coming up, and we're also working on expanding throughout the state. We've got a good peer support team started in Idaho Falls. We're also planning to reach out to the Twin Falls area. We've already started to reach out to that area because we've got veterans and first responders reaching out for help there, and then also in northern Idaho. And so I'm excited to work with Veteran Chamber of Commerce and other organizations. And I'm so excited about, I know this has been a huge vision of yours, Mitzi, as well as Marv's, to expand joining forces throughout the state. So I want to congratulate you on that, and great job all you're doing.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, that wraps up our meeting for today. Check your inboxes today, because I have a lot of information to send out. So you'll be hearing from me a bunch today. So thank you for coming, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, Mitzi.